on the planet right now, we've got a lot of people who are not in integrity with their own hearts. In asking Spirit, what can I do? What can I do? And how can I support this turning on the planet? Seeing so much devastation, seeing so many people making really crappy choices and hurting other people, seeing people's rights taken away, seeing the rampant racism and the oppression of marginalized peoples. Really, it's not okay. It's just not okay. And so there are many things that I can do from my place of privilege to address that. I can work on the spirit realms and I can work in the physical to bring things back right to where they need to be. I can work individually, I can work in groups. So can everybody here, right? Reel it in, because we're not going to address everything. When I talk to Spirit about what can I do, I'm given one of the very baseline things that needs to happen for the planet to come back into order. And that is that people, human beings, all human beings, need to be called back into their hearts, need to be invited back into their heart space. And I know that that might seem unlikely, but I assure you, from what Spirit is telling me and from what I know in my gut, it is possible. Every human being here, and animal beings too, and beings in the natural world, but we're talking about human beings. Those are the ones who've come away from their heart. Every human being has a heartbeat. And if you have a heartbeat, you were born from another human being who had a heartbeat. And if you were born from another being who had a heartbeat, your heartbeat was guided and supported and supplied by another person's heartbeat. And therefore, even if that person's heartbeat was, even if that person who supplied your heartbeat, even if you're not in a good relationship with them, there was an innate connection that included love somewhere in there. And everyone can be called back to that because it's a primal, internal, inherent memory. So one of the invitations that we can give, and you can do this in whatever way you want, is to call all the hearts back home, is to invite everybody home into their heart. And the people who are already in their hearts will be moved further into their hearts. And the people who are so far from their hearts that we don't even know how they're functioning, they get called back into their hearts. And maybe somebody is 100% out of their heart, and this invitation brings them 99% into their heart. And maybe the next invitation brings them 89% into their heart. And maybe if I'm inviting them and you're inviting them into the warmth and the connection to their heart, they are going to be called back into their heart eventually. I know that some of the indigenous world leaders do a practice that is connected to this. It's not exactly like this. And there are many people who are doing practices like this. So I offer this to you at this time to include in our work for today. For us to be home in our hearts, and for us to invite all the hearts back home. Everyone can be called back home. Everyone. So I take that, we bring that into our work, our meditation, our opening for today. So go ahead and shake anything loose that needs to get shaken loose, right? Shake it loose, shake your shoulders, shimmy your hips, move your arms, shake it loose. If you need to stand up while we do this, stand up while we do this. You don't have to sit if it's uncomfortable. Good morning, Alyssa. Shake it loose. Hey, Lonnie, thanks for the hearts. Oh, I love the rainbow hearts. Yes. Beautiful, Lori. Thank you. Guys, I know I love the emojis. So we're shaking it loose, coming into the center and taking a few breaths. Deep breaths in and down. In through the nose and down through the heart. in through the nose and down through the heart and through the body, recognizing that this is a cycle. The breath is a cycle. The breath goes in a circle. We inhale, we exhale. We inhale, we exhale. And that breath is moving in its own pulse, very much like the heartbeat. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Just a little bit different rhythm. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. The breath can move slow and the breath can move fast. The heart can beat slow and the heart can beat fast. The invitation is to breathe, root into the earth, root into the earth. Allow your breath to root you into the earth. Being comfortable, opening space in your body and in your heart, and turning your palms up. Everything is easier when we welcome in a force that is much wiser, grander, more gracious than we are. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of the spirits of healing for moving through us. Thank you for being at our shoulders and our backs, for being in the ground that we walk upon, for being in the sky that we look to, for light and purpose. As we breathe in and down with our palms open to the sky, we gather in and gather up and gather around the fire. And gather around that sacred fire that sits in the center of the circle. It sits in the center of this circle, and it sits in the center of the hearts of many, many circles. It sits in the hearts and the homes and the hearts of many, many nations. And through that fire, we are connected. Through that fire, we are fed with heat and warmth, light. We are also guided and protected. Breathing in, recognizing that you sit in this circle with all of the other healers and helpers who have gathered here with you, with us. Take a moment to acknowledge the fire in the center in whatever way feels good for you. Continuing to breathe and recognizing that everyone in the circle around this fire breathes the same air, the same breath, the same heartbeat. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. And the invitation is to come into your heart. We come into our hearts, individually and collectively. Coming into the heart and finding a place where you can hear or feel with your hand the heartbeat and the rhythm. Go ahead and put your hand on your heart if it feels okay. And feel that pulse. Feel that rhythm. Recognizing that this heartbeat of yours is connected to the heartbeat of the person next to you. to the heartbeat of a parent, to the heartbeat of a child. And drop your awareness a little deeper, a little further into your heart. And go ahead and remember what it's like to be called back home. Perhaps it's getting late and it's time for dinner. Perhaps everyone is waiting. You need to finish up what you're doing and come back home. And you might hear a voice calling you home. You might see someone waving, a friend, family member, come on back home. Breathe and remember that. And come back into your home. Come back into your heart. As you sit in this circle of hearts around this fire, making a commitment to yourself to stay in a place where you can hear your heart, and making a commitment to yourself to remember to listen when you've come away from your heart, and simply stating to yourself, I remember how to come back home. I remember to come back home to my heart. And dropping in and feeling that. And paying attention and allowing anything that comes up around that to flow through. No need to stop it or change it. I remember how to come home to my heart. And I commit to doing it. I commit to coming back to my heart. Even when it's scary. Even when I'm not sure. And I honor all of the spirits of healing that help to guide me back to my heart. Thank you for reminding me. And breathing in and breathing down. And from this place of remembering to come back into our hearts, we send out an invitation, a prayer, a blessing, a call out to the people in our families to come back home to your hearts. We might imagine that we are opening the front door or yelling down the stairs, come on back home. Everyone come back home. It's time to come home into your heart. And you can extend that invitation out as we sit around this fire. Fire that burns away illusions and brings through the truth. And collectively, we can raise our arms and our voices and call all the hearts back home. We're calling you, calling you, calling you home. Come back to your heart. Come back to your heart. Community, come back to your heart. World leaders, come back to your heart. Everyone. And you can imagine, if you'd like, that all hearts are coming back home. All energy that is rightfully yours and belongs in your heart returns home. All energy that is rightfully the birthright of all humans. And that birthright is love and connection and nurturing. Coming back home. You might even imagine world leaders making choices that include everyone. You might imagine local leaders making choices that include everyone. Breathing in. Breathing down around that fire. that burns away illusion. Welcoming all of the hearts back home. And then placing your hand back on your own heart and taking a deep breath. Coming into your own heart, feeling its pulse, its rhythm, feeling its flow. Breathing down into the roots. Knowing that this fire that you sit around with us is always burning in our hearts, in the center of our communities, and in the center of many, many nations. We offer gratitude to the fire for burning away what is no longer relevant and for illuminating all parts that need to come back home. Breathing in, breathing down, feeling your toes. Sending one more breath down through the roots, and then when you are ready, opening your eyes. Okay. Let me know how that landed for you and anything you want to share. I, of course, will wait because there's always a minute lag between what I'm saying and what you're hearing. And that is, as I said in the beginning of the meditation, something that I have been invited to do for quite a few years now from Spirit. And every opportunity that I get to remind us to do that or to share that is a good one. And it's something that you can do all the time, anytime, in any way, to whatever degree you want to. You can do that while you're standing outside and looking at the trees. You can do it while you're in the shower. You can do it in a full ceremonial situation where you light candles and lay down prayers, make offerings, in whatever way you do. I'm not asking you to do anything that you don't already do. The invitation is to add that welcome and invitation back into the hearts, into the work that you do. Because I do believe, as Spirit shows that to me, that we have the power and the ability to welcome people back into their hearts, and that everyone can hear the call to come back home. Sure, not everyone's going to listen at the same rate. Not everyone's going to do what we want them to do, but when they're in their hearts, they're much closer to it than when they're not in their hearts.